This is 1053 of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. I just want to share or more of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. Please come me directly. Very greatly appreciated. Today we are doing Simon. Simon Chal. Sadi, you're there, Simon Sadi. Your base to your Zion. The Rashi's words are astonishing. According to the name of Gemara Sham Pasuk, actually not the Rashi. Sorry, we're talking about Ramah, not the Rashi. So the Ramah is Tamua. It's passing both about liver and about, which is kulodam, of course, and about the chal, which is the udders. To say bisra underneath the meat, piece of meat, sure it's miscible. The other bisra top of a piece of meat, the evet in. After, if you did it, okay, preferably not. Underneath the meat. The fattiness of the meat which drips on the chal. If you ripped it backwards and forwards and smacked it against one, can you love it? That's even on top of the meat. Not to cook it with meat in a pot. The answer is it's about when you ripped it backwards and forwards and smacked it on the wall. But in this case, it's worse than cooking. Because even though you ripped it, the milk is still dripping from the chal on the meat, and you can see it. Ad kan lashon, chen kasab rosham, and the rosh said the same thing. Ain't move on. It's difficult to understand. If there's milk still there, and can lama mutar bishul, I have to cook it. Nam davar zebir asmag. Asmag explains that lashon chen chal chatchil aser. It's preferentially it's also sharp. You should go even though you ripped it, but but once milk came out, yot semi menu lav nunis. There's a white substance, like milk, which comes out afterwards. And it sticks, adheres to the meat. When you came basar, it looks like basar chov. But you have a mutter, but you have it's okay. It's not real milk. According to them, if the bottom, if the cow is not ripped, also the meat underneath is also the boleh melion absorbs from the top. Parash Rama Farshim the below nikra iri talk about where it wasn't ripped. When you come the evet and a kam also nevertheless the cow on top is not forbidden. As a basar the meat, but time the after the shachol noted about basar, even though the milk drips on the meat and mistarachbo and adheres to it, nevertheless came with the rubo nafal beish. His muscle falls on the fire of a chol of shchut rabbaner and the milk of a slaughtered animals. Anyway, the rabbaner lo chashu less or a basar the evident. We're not concerned to ask the meat, but the evident they might have chol manot of a basar is a little milk that drips on meat. If my basar if the meat is on the chal, it's mutter even deliberately to do so. Because the meat, the fat of the meat, which absorbs in the chal, does not taste not recognized in the chal. Also, you say where the same way it's absorbed, it is emitted. This is the Rashba, but Sarech Ian. So, because therefore to understand the Ramah. Yugimo. Visa Mavur, according to what we said, it's obvious. The Dvarim Hain of Shita Satesis, the Rosh. Ramah is going to the Shita of Tesis and the Rosh. That without ripping the bottom one is also. If you ripped it properly, it's okay. Even liberally. When the meat is on the chal. Why do you say you shouldn't roast the chatchila with meat at all? He didn't specify there's only when the meat is below. Not when the cows, the others are below. So also you have to say that the Ramah holds the Gemara. That's true. That's okay. That's by their skewers. Our skewers, orkan, which are horizontal as opposed to vertical. And therefore sometimes one side is up and sometimes the other side is up. The which we were concerned it might turn over, and the challah be on top. Therefore it's preferable to avoid no matter what. That's why he concludes that you don't answer, don't have to be concerned that maybe the shpud got switched around. The screw got switched around. The bracket says here, similar decisions made by by the liver. Excuse me. Therefore, the Ram was brief. Also relied on what he wrote by the liver. You doubt that which he wrote. So the clear blue bus in a pot without meat, no steamboat, no game, chatchila. We don't put the cow in that pot. Come, I feel because be kriya with ticha, even if you rip it and you bang it. As hell, when there's a going, this is except from the going should receive vav. The thing goes a bit tigon also the man frying others. I feel below bus even without meat. Came pashtita amach so to a kugel or in a pan. Avo below my machvas without a pan, hagam the shvolim other than in pashtita kibishlim. Though in all matters we regard a kugel as cooking. Gom licha such as by salting. Sin and ches kol nevertheless came the gambishu batso since even not cooking the other rak chumra is a stringency ugzera and a decree lower to the gzagam bashir. They didn't answer also the kugel. When it's not in a pan, below so it can drip. Never doesn't look like cooking. But it's a pan. The it looks like cooking because filu they made a decree even if the udders are dry. It's 130 days. Because who the chatchil is all chatchil, but the ever mukminan adina the ever goes according to strict letter of the law. Kishitas Rashi, the zal like Rashi Nikrosh Steve Erev, you ripped it backwards and forwards. The Torah because slapped it against the wall. Ubishlo and you cook the levada by itself mutter. It's permissible. Yadana show you Yavesh was dry. If we know it's dry, yom, or it's more 30 days old, mutter, but you have a gambur bishlam basar. So what do you mean to cook it with meat? Came with shinis yabish since it became dry. The kol acholav and the milk has gone. Shibbo, the milk which is in it. Ishin Sola Saragam, the ever those want to answer even but the ever Vishal Lavad, if you cook it by itself, Afshakaro, even then you ripped it, but told Gosa and smacked it against the wall. The time, the reason being that Khreshakan Lena Khumra Zoo, since in Kabul, this Khumra, Habi Kadavar Shem Nessamanias, like which is came also on the basis of a formal count of Basin. But Latino requires another count of basin to permit it. Some people even want to be asa kugel, which is not a pan. Also not the bacon. When you made it into a kugel, in pashtida shabasar with a kugel made out of meat, in a small oven. One small oven. All these are chumros going too far. The back says here, "Ein taz sivkon chaz shem mashkos shem marshal ta'avik davish neser Armenia." It's like someone who came also in account of basin. Because Ramah, the prime level like the Ramah, the atu is xera. There's such a degree that we know she needs a pulling, which is a public decree. El shinogu king, it's custom. Gonim chizku zeh me'atam shekostam siv zayin. Going to strengthen this because the reason he wrote back in Siv Zayin. And even with the Evet, we took upon ourselves the Shita, which is not completely Mekos, not completely Machmer, it's somewhat more Machmer, Feduk. Tesvav, Liam Malichas, Chal in Basar, in terms of salting the udders with the meat, came in the Maliach, since salting is like boiling. The tzli of roasting, boiling of roasting. You can't have it, could see it's like roasting. The below kriya, well, if you didn't rip the cow kidin properly, tachton aser. Whatever's in the aser. Aser's kriya kidin, if you ripped it properly, ima basa mala, if the meat is on top, mutter is chila, even deliberately. Chalamal, if the cow is on top, also chila, it's also deliberately put them together. Whatever you did, it's okay. On the Meshmin, but some say the Bezel Lomin and Klam Malich Rosech. You don't say in this case that salting like boiling. Shamelach eno pel b'cholov kivadam. Milk does not, salt does not raise the temperature of milk like it does raise the temperature of blood. Um, Flito doesn't remove it. Nor does it cause it to be absorbed. It's preferable not to salt it with meat. If it's ripped properly, if you have mutter and the evidence okay. Even if it's not ripped at all. The story about chal and regular meat, which came salted together, became menukov in a perforated vessel. But then they put it in a non-perforated vessel. Both of them. Or keva, so to the hide of the intestines, which is the fleshy intestines. After the milk has been removed from within it. I'm not sure it means milk or chalev. Vudach, I think it's milk. But then it's been rinsed. Yeshlo din shar basar has a din of other types of meat. Mutar mochin basar allowed to meat it. It must be milk, otherwise what's the issue here? Mutar mochin basar allowed to salt it with other meat. It's slow, so to roast it. Bashal cooking shar basar with other meat. Below dam chal, it's not like chal. There's milk there, it doesn't get it, it's not absorbed. Tezai, Afagav shemachmin and shalabashal kalim we're machir not to cook the udders at all. No matter what. In terms of cutting the udders with a fleshing knife, we go according to strict level of love. Meaning if they ripped it backwards and forwards, so because they banged on the wall. Shell buster, you can cut it with a meat knife. Even if the udders are boiling. And it's not been fully roasted yet to remove all the milk. Low down in the bishul, it's not like cooking. Shagaz or shemi avashlim basa, we're certainly might kind of cook with meat. Mashkein besak is supposed to knife low shachahach zer. There's no relevance to such a decree. But if they roasted it without cutting it, also then you can't cut it with a fleshing knife. Lichatchila, deliberately. Says those those are the custom that they cook it after they roast it. When you cook it after you roast it, that they don't use that pot for anything else. It's a foolish custom. If it's roasted, you can cook it with meat. Marashal writes that something is machmir after it's been totally roasted, benikra and ripped. It's a foolish person. Marashal only wrote this on cutting with a knife. But to cook it with meat, because it's even the it's preferable not to cook it with meat. Even after roasting. But the Evan mutter only if you did it already, it's mutter. Seems the opposite. After it's roasted, it's like meat for everything. Doesn't matter. Even that seems to be primary halacha. The bracket says in Marashal meaning it's like some special prohibition, which is as if it was done in basin. We don't hold that way as we have seen. Yud Zayin. You can cut with a fleshing knife a raw udders even though it's full of milk. You also have to cut meat with a knife which has been used to cut cow. In the same vessel. Also to roast them on a skewer, roast them one after the other. Is only salted the cow. Otherwise, there's a prohibition of the blood inside the cow. Allowed to put it in a plate with roasted meat. Even though both hot, also after it's roasted, dino says here dayenu, but it probably should be dino. Kshar is like all any other meat, l'chol for any matter. But dino, there's only if it's roasted properly. You ripped it backwards and forwards because it's slapped against the wall. Or you cut it up very finely. Pamim Adif Ticha, because which is sometimes better than slapping as well. I don't know if it's still below Kriya, but if you roasted it illegally, without ripping, or Kriya Metas, or minimal ripping, but the Evan, Hakombo to everything is permissible. If you ripped it properly but slow, it roasted Abishin and Motsu, Achakak, Gumas Milosklov, even though later on he found pockets full of milk inside the others, and Lachush not concerned. But Tam Chosh could mutter min Torah. Because anyway, the milk of a shechted animal is mutter min the rice. So Chomin goes with that, Nishum get the Basim Chol. Chomin made the creek because of Basim Chol. Came and Chosh Kitika Chomin, since he did like Chomin asked, required. Hachav shel nifresh nishar bo, and the milk which is not separated remains there. Mutter, it's okay. Kamodam mevarim, like blood which is never coming out. Shall appears like the blood and limbs of an animal which is not separate. L'achatzia, which is made after roasting. She'en chol shalom, not concerned with it. Avo shaloni krabatin, if it's not ripped properly. Have a chalav akonos b'chalav gomor. The milk is to be absolute milk. You put the cow down complete before you roast it. With its milk, yom shalim for 1 day. Mutzah, we say it's okay. We don't say that soaking is like cooking. You can roast it after you cut it and bang it. But time is in the cave and the kavush abba was a chalav gomer, because even though soaking even absolute basal chalav. And the rabbanon explained Ramak was having seen peizayin l'chein gazu b'chalav shchita. They didn't make a decree by the milk of a shechted animal less or kavush we have it to aser something which is soaked with yevim. But it's preferable never to leave it for a 24-hour period without ripping it. But if it's soaked together with other meat or other milk, but it's soaked together for 24 hours, come the Evid also. It's also the Evid. The location is not like the Kruz Kaspi. It's a great place you want to be lenient. For Daishon, the Ochel Chal Tzarech shows Archias Chol B'Sheshos, the Bas Garmo. Even after you eat udders, you have to wait 6 hours. Still considered to be meat for that purpose.